Welcome on a somewhat somber Sunday, but still, as we're going to discuss, every goal is still out there on the table for Tennessee after the loss to Florida. So we visit with Jacob Warren. It's brought to you by Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Haun. Cataract and Lasik surgery done locally by doctors who care for you. So Jacob, after a loss is not the way I usually talk to you. It hasn't happened very often.
Yeah,
With you guys been on a tear since we started working together last year. How's morale?
man, it's I don't know. As a competitor, as someone that's been in it for a while, obviously losses happen, right? Like there's just days where someone just is better than you on a specific day, right? Someone had a better game plan, or executed better, or just whatever it was. I'm sure we'll get into it, but yeah, it happens, man. In life, there's losses, and you learn from them, or you can kind of just sit in your shell and whine and sulk about it. So we're trying to do, man, trying to move on. Obviously, can't do anything about it now. So I think just the important thing is just moving on. Everything that we want, and we, like you said, everything's out in front of us, and we still have all these goals in mind that we're still able to achieve. So um, looking forward to that.
The team does, spends Sunday morning looking at the tape, reviewing, and you can see so much more than you can even when you're on the field or in the sideline. But what did you see when you guys looked at the tape? Was it more when you're always in maybe mistakes, or was it more what Florida did?
I think every week, and this is regardless of who you are and who you're playing, I think each team can say if you lost, right, or if you won, like the mistakes that were made, or whenever things weren't going well, it's because of you, right? It's because of just mistakes that you're making, or just you know miscues, or just shooting yourself in the foot, whatever. But last night I think Florida, man, had a good plan for us. I think that they handled the clock really well. I think that they ran the ball really well. Number 7, their running back, man, had an amazing game, and ran the ball really efficiently. Um, which stinks, right? Because that means they're able to control tempo, they're able to control the clock. If they can hand the ball off and get a good amount of yards, then um, they don't have to force the ball down the field. They don't have to risk having incomplete passes or pass breakups or interceptions, things like that. So yeah, they did that. Did a really good job of that. Did a good job of continuing to score points whenever it felt like we had a chance to come back, or this momentum shifts, or whatever. Whether you believe in momentum or not, I don't know, but they did a good job. At the end of the day, is we drive the ball down the field, you get to the 35, 40-yard line, just have trouble executing just our basic stuff whenever it's time to go really put the ball in the end zone, or just have trouble communicating, have trouble with the details of just the snap count, or being able to hear the clap, or whatever it may be. That resulted in a lot of penalties that really hurt us, that really killed drives. And end of the day, that's what happened. So that's why you lose games.
Visiting with Jacob Warren, the Vol Report brought to you by Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Haun. Again, local vision correction, whether it's cataract surgery or LASIK, or just a regular annual examination. Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Haun. Check them out at ccteyes.com, ccteyes.com. What did Florida do for the layman out there that made it more difficult for you guys to be a high octane offense like we've seen in the past?
So obviously, like what we like to do is we got to get the ball ready to score fast, right? Um, what a lot of teams have turned to is limiting the amount of possessions that we have. We can't score 50 points if we don't have enough possessions to score 50 points. If that makes sense. Um, so a lot of teams bank on being able to get a couple stops, offense being able to be efficient, being able to score points, and then proceeding to not allow us to have many opportunities to come back. Luckily, last night for us, we defense got some stops, man. We had opportunities to put points on the board, and um, that's what you talk about hurting yourself. You talk about not being able to execute. The opportunities were there. That's maybe even more frustrating is the fact that we did have the opportunity and we had it right in front of us, and one reason or another just didn't happen. But yeah, offense did a good job. When I say managing the clock, I mean for those that don't know, I think running the ball, if the ball is is in possession of someone, whatever, and they go down inbounds, the clock will run, and the clock will continue to go until the next dead ball. Dead ball happens with an incomplete pass. So if they throw a pass, someone doesn't catch it or someone runs out of bounds, whatever. So Florida was able to run the ball well, keep the ball in bounds, keep the ball on the ground, which means the clock will continue to run. And I think last night was one of the quickest first quarters that I think I've ever been a part of, just because, we were kind of moving the ball, and then they were moving the ball, and they were running the ball the whole time. So there's a lot of clock was getting eaten up, and it's something that happens and you have to deal with.
With what you're seeing, maybe Virginia, but more so Austin P, and then against Florida, are you seeing defensive backs play softer and softer because further back because of what they've seen you guys do last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that shows a level of respect, I guess, in a way of, hey, like, well, what you guys are capable of, and we're not going to let it happen to us. I think at the same time is you can work yourself into situations to where you can, catch the shorter routes and catch these different these different shorter routes, essentially, to get these guys to draw up and then be able to throw the long ball over the top. And those things that we're trying to do, right? These are things that we are trying to execute and trying to get done. So yeah, I think that people definitely are starting to play off a little bit and respect the speed that we have on the outside.
So what's the answer to that? Is it complete a string of passes underneath, run the football, or is it get a couple of downfield passes? What's the retort, you think, to put people playing softer?
I mean, that's not my job at all. I don't think. I think that that's something that people who have been around the game a really long time kind of figure it out and understand what exactly needs to happen to beat that. In my head, I mean, I play Madden. I also play the game, so I think that if you're not going to cover the short routes, we'll throw the short routes and we'll just make you tackle, right? We'll make you tackle in open space. You got guys like Brew who are extremely physical on the perimeter, guys like Squirrel who can step out of tackles and are really fast. And I think that that's the way that you attack it, I guess, in my mind.
You probably don't want to go down this road, but you guys didn't get a lot of help from the officiating. Is that something that's discussed among teammates?
Sure. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. Keep going. I'll let you talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it decided the game, but and the officiating, I will say, because I don't want you to get in any trouble, across the SEC, not just your all's games, you don't see probably every game, but has been pretty questionable. So let me ask it in this way. How much of is it a gump punch when you feel like you're starting to get momentum and maybe a questionable call happens? That's probably a better way to ask it so I don't get you in trouble.
Yeah. There's things you can't control, and there's things that you can try to play your best game in order to avoid situations like that, not put yourself in situations like that. End of the day, if the ref sees something and he throws a flag, it's a penalty, right? Regardless of whether I think it's a penalty or whether it actually should be a penalty. If he throws the flag and it's reviewed like whatever, it's a penalty. And so I think that's something you just have to live with, and you have to live in a space of avoiding even the possibility, right? There's no possible chance that this ref can throw this flag on me in this play because I'm not even going to give him the chance, right? I think that's kind of the mentality you have to go about it, and yeah, you hate to put the game in the refs' hands, and I don't think that necessarily last night the refs were the reason we lost the game. That's not at all what it is. Obviously, there's some specific scenarios where you just kind of shake your head and you wonder, what the call was about or why it's thrown. But just the same way, that's not my job to get guys in cover three corners to play down and play closer to the ball. It's not my job to throw the flag. So it's my job to not get a flag thrown on me. And I think if I can, each person can just focus on trying to do that, man, play the game within the rules. And, you miss a couple, you kind of want some as well. And at the same regard as whether getting called, but, not getting called as well. You just ask for it to be fair, and you ask for it to be clean. And that's all you can really do about it.
Yeah. I hear longtime football coaches say it evens itself out, but that's tough to hear after one game. So, I look back at you guys last year, at the loss to Georgia, you bounced back 66-24, hammered Missouri.
Yeah.
And then the surprising South Carolina loss where I think there were some issues before the week. You come back the next week and hammer Vanderbilt 56-0. So both of those bounce back games weren't even close. I want to get your thoughts on Joe Milton, but first, just as a team, how confident are you that this team has the bounce back ability that you had last year?
I mean, even just from last night, I think the team that you saw, or at least that we saw in the second half, was a lot different than the team that was in the first half. I think um, just our ability to fight, our ability to strain through the end of the game and compete, man. And just like, of course, things didn't go the way you want them, but like I mentioned earlier, it's like we put ourselves in the opportunity to be able to go and make the plays to win the game. And I think that was something that maybe other teams wouldn't even have been in that opportunity. It wouldn't even have been that position just because a lack of the willingness to fight, right, and to finish games and to compete. So I think that kind of mentality, that attitude carries into the next week, man. It's just a matter of what can we do to be better, simply be better, right, in every facet and every asset of the game. I think that again, you bounce back from a game like this, and it's just inspiration to go and not take it out on the next guy, but just kind of lock in on the things that went wrong last week and be able to progress and be able to get better as the season moves along.
So when I was your age, a student at UT going way back, and dinosaurs roam the earth.
Right.
So the winner of the Tennessee Florida game back in the 90s was just going to win the East almost every time, because they were probably one of the top 6 or 7, 8 best teams in the nation. So they weren't going to slip up, and the East wasn't as good. But now I don't think you can necessarily say that. I think that the SEC as a whole may be down a little bit, but I don't know that Florida is going to run the table and could lose 2 SEC games. You guys could still be in Atlanta. You guys could still win an SEC title. You could still be in the college football playoff, could still win a national championship. I know I'm repeating myself for a fact, but how much is that a discussion that, yes, this is a disappointing loss, but it is still all out there for you?
And it will be, man. It will continue to be as long as we continue to do what we're supposed to do. You can get not discouraged, but you can let it sting, right? You can let this one hurt, but understand that end of the day is, like you said, man, it is, you never know what can happen in this league. And as long as we continue to just fight, we continue to try to be the best team on the field every single week, then we'll have everything right in front of us, and we'll have everything that we've talked about, that we've wanted for this season.
So as far as Joe goes, Joe Milton, your quarterback, your leader, how would you describe his confidence and the confidence that you guys still have in him?
It's not going to change, man. I think that the guy made some crazy throws last night, made some amazing throws last night, and made some good plays on his feet. Gets the offense into a position to be successful whenever things aren't necessarily going right, and kind of takes command of his group and of these guys. And that's something that we all see, and we're all super thankful for. From the outside looking in, obviously I'm not really sure how it looks because I'm not on the outside, right? I purely see just what the situation is, and I see all the problems that maybe took place last night, and I understand where they come from. I understand not who to blame, but I know that it doesn't all just fall on that guy. And I think that he takes a lot of negative energy and a lot of negative talk. And man, you're entitled to your own opinion, but I think the guy's still extremely talented, and I think he's the guy that can give us a lot of success. And I think that as we get going again, man, as everybody gets better and as he gets better and he learns a lot of things about just playing this game against really good teams, I think we'll be fine, man. I have the most confidence in him.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you hear, and I knew this was going to happen the moment he had any sort of struggle or that you guys lost, do you hear the Nico talk? Because the most popular person on a team is the backup quarterback.
Yeah, it was the same thing back in 2019, 2020 with Harrison Bailey and all these guys that are great quarterbacks. The room is full of talent, and everybody's got an opinion about who should be the starter, who should be playing. End of the day is you can hear the talk, you can hear about it, whatever. Man, Nico is a great talent. My roommate on the road right now. Like, I enjoy hanging out with him. Not my decision at all. I think that we have confidence in our guy right now, and we have confidence in the backups as well. But end of the day is we're going to go out there and we're going to play, and whoever's behind us, we trust him. But for right now, I think that you know talk how you want, right? You can have your opinions if you'd like.
Yeah, I do not think it's just my opinion. That would be the appropriate thing to do, but it's going to be out there. Brought to you by Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Haun. Enjoy life better when you see better. The local vision service for Lasik, cataract surgery, and regular eye examinations. Go to ccteyes.com. It is right down there. And Jacob, let me ask you this. Maybe sort of a tough question, but there were some passes in the Austin P game that, and I know I'm going back, and maybe a couple, one or two in the Florida game that were catchable, but that would have been tough catches, perhaps because of ball placement.
Sure.
Are you guys, the receivers? I'm talking about you're in the receiver. I know you're tight end, but are the receivers that are going out and doing enough to help Joe Milton right now?
I guess kind of a tough question. I think that there's times whenever you need to make your quarterback right, or you need to kind of help your quarterback out in a situation. I think that a lot of times, and it's not just on receivers either. I mean, like there's I'm sure plenty of moments when Joe wishes that he was more accurate with the ball at a specific time, whatever, and that's across the board, right? Everybody realizes that they could be better, and I think that it's just a matter of both ends trying to be better, man. Both ends trying to figure it out. I think that there's a lot of times where a receiver can, we're taught to play long, right? Especially whenever you're matched, whenever you're covered, and it's going to be a man, how should I say this? Like a tight one-on-one catch, right? There's going to be a contested catch. You're taught to play long. You're taught to extend your arms. You're taught to attack the ball. You're taught to come back towards the ball, towards the line of scrimmage in order to protect throws. Just details, talking about details of quarterbacks, but also the details of the receiver and understanding when you need to protect that throw, understanding when that ball, okay, I recognize that ball might be a little bit higher, might be a little bit behind me. Let me go ahead and prepare myself to be able to adjust and make this catch. That's just part of playing wide receiver. That's part of being a good receiver. And I think that our guys do that a lot. And I think that, we have a good understanding of it. It's just a matter of being able to do it every single time and being able to, like I said, make a quarterback look good and be able to make those plays whenever something maybe not necessarily perfect, right? And that guy's doing a lot of stuff too back there, right? And there's a lot of times last night where, he's getting the ball off, getting hit or getting pressure or kind of moving on the run. And, that ball's coming out and he's trusting the receiver to be able to just go make a play. And so, times whenever we did and times whenever we didn't. So it's just a matter of everybody being ready to do that.
Keep your chin up, man. Long season. A lot of things can happen. He is Jacob Warren. By the way, congratulations on the long catch you had. You continue to be a big part of this offense, and you continue to perform at a high level. I know that's kind of hollow after a loss, but kudos to you for continuing to making plays week in and week out. He's Jacob Warren. I'm Dave Hooker. The Vol Report brought to you by Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Haun. This has been a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.